Today we're doing fiscal and monetary policy, and then we're also going to do the fake out sheets towards the end. Hopefully everyone has a couple things with them, marker, eraser, things like that. But then also like their notes and something to write on that's more permanent than like a whiteboard. Yes. Like the book that we made in class is a review book. Cool. Next on flashcards. Okay. So, first things first, fiscal policy. I'm gonna divide it into fours. Because once again, there is expansionary fiscal policy and contractionary fiscal policy, but there's also automatic and discretionary fiscal policy. So you can have automatic expansionary or discretionary expansionary, automatic contractionary and discretionary contractionary. So I'm gonna just say, I don't know, discretionary, expansionary fiscal policy, automatic expansionary fiscal policy, discretionary contractionary fiscal policy, and automatic contractionary fiscal policy.
I like your outfits today, Taylor. The colors are really confident themselves.
Red, white, and blue. Yeah, something about it. Very familiar. Okay.
Do it on purpose?
Nope. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, I forgot. I'm going to pass this around. It's the 13th, so right down here. Just sign in. So, I get the big bucks.
Wait, do you want me to sign in for every day then?
No, because that would be fraud.
Then no one would know. Yeah, I don't see why.
Well, it wouldn't matter. It would matter if there was one extra person. Yeah. Well, I don't get paid per person. I get paid per hour.
What if we read all of them?
No.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to help you with this.
I appreciate your help.
Okay. Sit here until 5:30 when you talk to them, so you get paid all this hours. I'll do it.
So fiscal policy, remember, in general, is changing taxes and or, doesn't have to be both at the same time, or changing government spending. And it can be done on purpose, that's what the word discretionary means, or by accident, which is what automatic means. Remember, expansionary, as long as expansionary fiscal policies increase aggregate demand. Increasing aggregate demand. And contractionary fiscal policy decreases aggregate demand. Okay, so let's talk about the discretionaries first because that one's easy. That is just raising, lowering, whatever. So, Pablo, discretionary, expansionary fiscal policy. What is the government purposely going to do with taxes if we want to expand? They're going to lower them, lower taxes. How does that increase aggregate demand?
Less money is taken out from
You're making more money. You're making more money that you spend less in taxes. Remember, what is that called? The amount of money that you have after you pay taxes.
Disposable income.
Disposable income. Lowering taxes increases your disposable income.
What is it?
Income. Probably. Maybe not net. Net usually is not. Okay. I don't know. Cherry, what do you do with government spending to expand the economies and fiscal policy? Yeah, why? Why does that increase aggregate demand? Don't think too hard. Yeah. Yeah, because aggregate demand is all spending. If the government is spending more, that increases all spending because government's included in that. It's a mid-GDP equation. For discretionary contractionary, it's just the opposite. They're going to raise taxes or they're going to cut government spending. Zach, what's going on? Flirting with Sarah.
Yeah, means like your mom.
You're not a dentist. She's not a dentist. But you are a psychiatrist, which is
I need a doctor.
okay. All right, let's talk about automatic policy. Remember, this is where taxes and government spending are changing, but not on purpose. So, Ryan, explain more about the tax cuts thing.
The tax brackets is depending on how much income people have, they pay different tax rates.
What is that called? Our tax structure.
It's called proportion.
No, that's flat. Progressive and regressive. Okay, so the more money you make, the higher percentage is taxed. So in a recession, which is why we would need expansion in fiscal policy, are people going up or down the tax brackets?
Down.
They're
That's the
going.
job side.
I'm sorry, I don't know if people can hear you. They're going down tax brackets because they're making less money. People are getting their hours cut. They're not earning as much profit or whatever, and so people move down. I'll say people make less money and move into a lower tax bracket.
You're having a party in here on the 17th, 16th, May 9th. I'll literally skip first period.
Yeah, we're going to the 16th. Our party will be at the art show. Why? Why to see art? My art. See Sophia's art. Oh, Sophia has invited me to the art show, and I would like to support Sophia.
Are all of the ecosystems?
What do you mean on after school?
We're just going during class.
Can I go with you during class?
Are you in class? Are you in my class? Yes. Okay. Right.
Do all the eco kids get together or whatever that is?
All my first period? Sure.
Wait, what day is it?
I think you're gonna sleep
What
in.
does that go on? Skipping first period?
I like that you will like that.
You're in class, Victor. If that's not, we don't have class together.
I can come here.
Okay, Victor. Victor, you know how, people move down tax brackets and pay less in taxes? But what about the government spending thing? Government spending should go up in a recession. How is government spending?
Because if I don't have any money, I'm gonna start teaching.
Okay, more people on welfare.
What do you say? There's something that's people
Okay. More people on welfare, and so that's government spending increasing as more people are on welfare. So there's lower taxes automatically with our tax brackets, and there's more government spending automatically because of welfare programs and things like that. To contract the economy, we must be in an inflationary gap. It's the exact opposite. Hey, government spending. But it's if it's contractionary, it's just now people are making like they're in an inflationary gap, which is why we need to contract. So people will make more money. People move up tax brackets. Typically spending more in taxes now, which that's like higher taxes right away. And then if we're in a period of inflation, everyone's fully employed. People, not too many people on welfare. Okay. All right, so those are the different types of fiscal policy. It's all centered around either taxes or government spending. It's just, are they doing it on purpose, discretionary? Are they doing it by accident, automatic? Are they doing it to get out of a recession, expansionary? Or are they doing it to get out of an inflationary gap, contractionary? So there you go. Of course, there are like short run effects. That was all short run effects. The long run effects, thanks, of fiscal policy is all about the idea of crowding in and crowding out. Yeah, okay. So, it doesn't matter whether it's automatic or discretionary. It matters whether it is expansionary or contractionary. So long-run effects of fiscal policy, so long-run effects of expansionary. expansionary fiscal policy, and we're just talking about long run effects. In the short run, aggregate, it's just right, everything's good. Like it closes expansionary fiscal policy, fixes the economy in the short run. Like it does raise aggregate demand and closes the gap. But in the long run, there's deficits. There's a deficit. If you see the term expansionary fiscal policy on the AP test, the next thing you need to think about is, okay, there's a deficit. There's a government deficit. The government just spent more money and is bringing in less because there's less taxes. And even if they kept one of those the same, either maybe they start bringing more money in. Just kidding. Maybe they start spending more money, but they bring in the same amount of taxes. It's still going to run a deficit eventually. Or maybe they cut taxes but still spend the same. They're still bringing in less, so eventually it's going to run. It doesn't matter. It's just eventually there will be a deficit, which means the government spending is greater than taxes.
Wait, are we going to separate long run?
Yeah, I just said that was the line.
No, I know, but
Okay. Stop. Don't be surprised.
what if this was on
How? It wouldn't matter whether it was automatic or discretionary. It only matters if it's expansionary or contractionary. Like both expansionary fiscal policies, automatic or discretionary, will cause deficit. Yeah, and both contractionary fiscal policies, whether they do it on purpose or by accident, will cause surplus.
Oh, you want to look at the other one?
Okay. Okay. You're so much there. Okay. Vanessa, do you remember what Brad was talking about? How talking about like deficit spending and crowding out? No. No. We're talking about what you're supposed to say. Oh, no, fun. I was right. Okay. I did. Anyone remember what the y-axis is? Real interest rates. Real interest rates. Quantity of loanable funds. Regular just demand and supply. Average. When the government runs a deficit, they have a deficit because they did expansionary fiscal policy. They have to cover this deficit somehow. They don't have enough money to pay for things, so they have to borrow money. The government borrows money from banks.
Why don't we take money from the Fed?
What bank is it? The Fed is the bank.
The Fed.
That is the Fed. Yeah, the Federal Reserve is a bank. They do. They thought about this. Good point. Okay, so Ryan, question? Answer. There's two possible answers here for crowding out. What's one way that I can think about it?
Demand increases.
Because there's more demand for loans. If the government comes in and says, I would like a loan to pay for my deficit, what else could change?
Supply.
Less supply.
They take out that loan, leaving less supply for everyone else. You do you. You pick however you want. You're not going to do both. You're going to do one. I always say less supply. Oh. You stop it. Okay.
Interest rates increase.
Are these sanitary? No. But it's not happening. Why are you sighing, Miss Taylor?
I mean, there's less growth.
Because, like, the only person that's paying attention is the one guaranteed 5 in this room. And it's Ryan. Okay. Ryan, what way to get bigger, maybe? I am giggling about something that he finally me too. I'm not. No, I feel like
I found an economics very good. It was an economics joke.
Okay.
Yeah, this entire part of the room you're ignoring.
Sarah. What happens to interest rates if the Federal Reserve what happens to interest rates if the federal government runs a deficit?
If the federal government runs a deficit, interest rates go up.
And what does that do to long-run economic growth if there are higher interest rates? It lowers it. And so we're going to show that on like a PDF curve. So like interest rates goes up, which means investment spending goes down. There's less capital stock, less capital goods, less pizza. Whoa, look what I'm writing. Capital stock, less pizza ovens, long-run growth. So goes down. No. Okay. But the exact opposite is true if it's a contractionary fiscal policy. Chances are they'll talk about expansionary fiscal policy and crowding out, which is what this is, a whole lot more than they'll talk about crowding in. Stop it. I don't care. And dude, you're in school. Okay. Contractionary fiscal policy creates a what, Zach? Surplus, which is what? Yeah, taxes are greater than government spending. They're bringing in more and they're spending less. Of course, if you have all this extra money, do you need to go to the bank and take a loan? No. And so what? I don't know why it makes more sense for me to think like this. I always do crowding out is like less supply for loans. But then when I think that they don't want loans, I always think of just less demand. You can do more supply. What? Yes.
So what, sorry, what is that?
Okay, this is a graph that shows the supply and demand of money in the bank available for loans. The government has all this extra money now because they're bringing in more in taxes and they're spending less. They have a surplus. Do they need to go to the bank and borrow money? Which means there's less demand for loans because they say like, I don't want a loan. I don't need one. They have enough. And so that essentially lowers demand for loans and lowers interest rates. And with like less, no demand for loans, interest rates go down, investment spending goes up, long run growth. Taxes and spending. Sorry, context clues. We're talking about this policy. Bye, Ryan.
Why didn't he just leave like 2 minutes earlier? Maybe he forgot. Maybe he
Oh, that's the other thing. Why they're having fun. There, Chris. So, okay, guys, like the microphone is all the way over there. I'm having to talk very loudly and losing my voice because of it, because I'm having to talk over you.
Why don't you move the microphone?
I can't. It only goes maybe a foot closer, and honestly, it doesn't matter. Sarah, you have a question.
So in contractionary, is the only one changed the demand, and then
No, you can say that there's more supply available for loans.
is this like
Are you talking about aggregate demand or demand for loans?
okay? Like okay, so on here we see that for expansionary we moved supply, and for contractionary we moved demand. Are those the only ones that can be moved in these situations?
No.
Or can both of them be moved as long as you're explaining it correctly?
That's correct. As long as the interest rates are
Either rising or dropping?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. But for my brain, I always think of less supply for crowding out, less demand for crowding in. But you could do more demand for crowding out and more supply for crowding in. Overall. Okay. Thanks, Sophia. I implied it. It's yes. Same thing. It's more capital stock, more economic growth. Okay, we're done with fiscal policy. Now let's talk about monetary policy.
Well, isn't it just like so in the opposite? And long run for contractionary
Surplus is when taxes are greater than government spending.
Oh, that's what you meant.
That's the definition of a surplus,
I
yes.
thought you said I thought everything. No, it answer it, doesn't it? I'm gonna slap you.
It has a bigger effect to the multipliers. Yeah. I know that during B-Block today we did multiplier practice. Does anyone, before we move on to monetary policy, need like a couple more questions about?
No.
Yes.
They wait till after. You offered, I'm sorry.
If we're faulting off the road, he's lost.
It's no, because you just offered it. I didn't even know that was what was being done over. So you guys knew.
Oh, man. Oh, stop saying that. One number over the other number. If you don't get it, you're lost. It's over. One. You get one.
Put it down, Miss Taylor. I'm ready. Stop saying that.
I don't have time, bro. I did stupid ceremony shit. Sorry, I'm sorry. What? Sorry. She's like, we're just gonna do this. And I'm like, you know, we got an AP test tomorrow, lady. We didn't even go far enough playoffs. Why did they have to recognize it? It's our calculation. Okay, here's your question. If real estate needs decreased by $200 billion in MPC 1.5, what was the change in spending to create this? Even if you were here at lunch today, you're doing this.
Hold up. I don't know what this is without calculator.
Wait, isn't this MPS?
It might be easier if you change MPC to MPS.
Oh, I meant to say MP. Sorry. That's
Wait, okay, but in that scenario, if that was MPC.
Don't worry about it. Just do this
It would have
now.
been 1.333.
That's not something you could have done in your head.
So it would have been 1.333.
One over
Really?
0.75. What's 1 over 0.75? No.
Are they close?
No.
No, but I'm not.
Read the question again.
I've read it 4 times.
United States.
Oh, you're such a baby. I don't know why.
United States of America.
I don't understand.
Okay, what are you doing?
He's also taking notes on the whiteboard.
I left my binder at home and I'm all out of scratch paper.
So I'm taking the one.
I will.
All right. Keep in mind, here is the equation that you have meant to have solved. Some sort of change in spending times that spending multiplier KS is going to give us a change in real GDP. You were typically used to have me giving you the two variables first and then asking GDP change. But I gave you GDP change. GDP decreased by 200 billion. MPS is 0.25. I'm asking for a change of spending. So you shouldn't be multiplying anything. You should be dividing to solve for spending.
Wait, so wouldn't it be?
Should be negative 50.
How?
Okay, so MPS, 1 over MPS, which is 1 over 0.75, and that's 4.
How is it 4?
It's 1 over MPS.
Oh, I was like, where did you get 4?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Have you done anything outside of this class to prepare for this test? Not.
Yes, I have.
Okay. Why are we going off on hurting me? She obviously doesn't care enough.
I'm here though, so clearly I care.
All right. Can we just like retract the clause a little bit?
Stop saying that.
GDP went down by 200 billion. I have not given KS, but I have given enough information to solve for KS. KS is 1 over MPS. If MPS is 0.25, it's 1 over 0.25. Sophia, what is that? It's 4. So the question is, what, because I'm asking what was the change in spending, what times 4 is going to give you negative 200, negative 50. They cut spending by $50 billion. Okay, monetary policy. Good. If you need more multiplier practice, you may go to Khan Academy.
Is it K? It wasn't, okay, which one is that you add to end of the score? Or is it MPC?
Stop it. Grow up. Go shave.
Exactly.
Very wants you. Go for it. You're not a hero. Yes.
Vanessa has one.
Zach, no one
When
was
you
talking
said
about.
NPC couldn't,
Oh,
it could have been 1/.7.
That would have been harder.
But like, that's what it would have been.
Yes, it would have been. Bye, Riley. Okay. Monetary policy.
Monetary
There are three tools of monetary policy. Pablo, what's one of them? The primary tool of monetary policy.
Fire research ratio?
That's one of them. It's not the one we use the most often. That's the other one.
Liar cell phone.
That's the primary monetary policy tool, okay? So, let's do expansionary. Probably do a, yeah.
4.
Yeah, we'll probably do a 4. Because there is discretionary and automatic and expansionary and contractionary. How did we do? Did we do discretion, automatic before?
Yeah.
Okay. So discretionary, expansionary, monetary policy, automatic, expansionary, monetary policy. When you have a college degree, you can draw lines however you like. Discretionary. What's the word? Discretionary, contractionary, monetary policy, and automatic, contractionary, monetary policy. Good job. Wait, sweetie, stop. Sophia, question.
This question in itself is annoying, so
Yes.
I hope that answers it for you.
Yes, you were saying.
Talking, you weren't saying anything in the first place, so I didn't take up any time. Now I am.
Victor, I want you to move up 2 seats. Okay, maybe you can just like move back. Okay. So, yay, Pablo, for remembering all of the tools of monetary policy off the top of his head. So, yes, if you're to expand an economy, first off,
Oh, A1?
Hey, Catherine, you're being annoying.
I'm not interrupting anyone.
sure.
Just keep talking louder, that's what I do. Stop, no. Were you gonna throw something at me?
No.
Do it.
Hey.
Honestly, can you?
I'll throw back. Okay, leave discretionary, tell me.
What does monetary policy shift? Before it shifts AB, it needs a reason to shift AB. It shifts money supply, MS. So, monetary policy, discretionary monetary policy, shifts, you know what, I'll say to the right, because it's increases money supply, for expansionary, for discretionary, contractionary, it decreases money supply. So, how do you increase money supply, with bonds? Zach, do you remember, do you buy or sell bonds?
Try to increase money supply. Yeah, buy bonds.
Yes, Fed will buy bonds. Fed buys bonds.
Wait, why?
Circulation.
Okay, I will answer a question. Okay, you're a bank, I'm the Fed. I need you to start loaning out to customers again. So here's what I'm gonna do. That orange, this is a bond. I'm gonna buy this from you, I'm gonna give you money for it. That money is gonna go into your excess reserves and you can loan it out to people. And that increases money supply, because yes, and then, because I bought the bond from you. But if I'm trying to slow down spending and you're loaning out way too much money, I'm gonna sell you a bond, I'm gonna take money for that bond. You have less money to loan out, which means there's less loans given. And so, yeah, the Fed buys bonds to expand, the Fed sells bonds.
So they're taking, it's like giving people money and taking money.
Yes, that's literally it. But of course, there's other tools that they can use. But I said, do you remember what other tools of monetary policy there were? And if I want money supply to increase, I want people to have more money. I'm going to lower the discount rate, make it cheaper. Remember, the discount rate, they're going to lower it for expansionary. They're going to raise it for contractionary.
Miss Sarah, didn't you say no one really borrows from the feds?
Yeah.
Since there isn't.
Which in so in real life, they're not going to change this very often at all, because it's like that's like changing a speed limit on a road that no one drives on. It's not going to do anything. But like on the AP test, they'll raise lower discount rates as if they do that all the time. So they just want to know if you know the tools. Oh, that's
What was the name of the
Federal Reserve. Central Bank.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, it's like, if you're talking about a bank, it's the opposite.
Commercial bank.
Yes.
It's like the bank that you bank at.
I got those questions wrong in knowledge, because if I was just like a bank.
Yeah. Central bank is the Federal Reserve. Commercial bank is where you put your money.
Wait, so discount rate's not actually a discount?
It is not. Raising it raises interest rate. It's not raising a discount. I could call it fun, happy sunshine rate. That is not mean raising it makes it more fun or happy sunshine. It's raising interest rates. So, Terry, do you remember the third monetary policy tool? The required reserve ratio, which is a fraction of deposits that must be kept in reserve. Sophia?
So,
No. Well, I mean, you can put interest rate that the Fed charges for banks. That's what you could put, because there's discount rate, there's a federal funds rate. Those are two different things.
okay, fine. And then the Fed buys bonds, and it's the central bank buys bonds.
What?
So instead of the Fed buys bonds, I can say the central bank buys bonds.
Yes. Yes.
But I can't say interest rate. But
No.
charged interest rate.
No.
Okay, fine. I'll fix this up. It's fine. It's fine.
You can, but the AP test is not going to be, hey, Sophia, you make up the question and put it in your own words.
No,
They're going to say the
I want to
discount
be
rate.
prepared in case they call it something else.
They would call it the interest rate that the Federal Reserve charges. They won't. They're going to call it the discount rate.
Alright.
Yeah.
Just buying and selling the bonds, that's different.
Yes, yeah, signed bonds is also called open market operations. It's also called OMO. It's called securities. All of those are synonyms of bonds. And then the last one, which was the required reserve ratio, which is a fraction of deposits that must be kept in the bank at all times. So if I want to increase money supply, have more money circulating in the economy, do I want a smaller or a bigger amount kept in the bank? Smaller. So you're going to lower the required reserve ratio to expand and then raise it to contract. Also changing the RR not only frees up more or less money, it changes the money market, the money multiplier. So like
It's kind of been down since.
okay. And never come back.
What's the name of the rate that banks charge other banks?
That's a federal fund.
Call back here, so good luck.
Thank you. We'll need it. Okay. It's one thing. They're awful. All right. Just underneath this column, because it is. Oh, this is what I need to do. I need another box because I want a graph to show each of the scenarios. Okay, so here we have the money market graph where we have nominal interest rates, quantity of money. Remember, money supply is vertical, money demand is downward sloping. gonna do both contractionary and expansionary on here. Oh,
Which one is this one right now?
Jerry, you didn't bring any paper, you're like writing it on what?
My invitation to do this.
Oh, someone wants to brag, huh?
Money demand?
That's just.
I do like your course.
Context clues, yes.
How do I say
Sorry,
that?
that was rude. Yes, Tiana. Okay, so money supply is what shifts, we just said that. Increasing, money supply is expansionary monetary policy. Decreasing, is contractionary. So, I am going to just draw, like, here is money supply of 2, this is expansionary.
So we draw this one expansion.
And then I'm gonna draw to the right, or to the left, and, money supply of 3, and that's contractionary.
Does it matter if it's discretionary?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Okay, well, I'm asking, is this discretionary?
This is under discretionary for both.
MD,
Money demand, MD. And so, because discretionary monetary policy shifts money supply.
Is the x-axis quantity?
Yes, few of them. And remember, this is what got me here, was Victor's question of what is the interest rate that banks charge each other, and that's the federal funds rate, and that's that equilibrium. Whenever this equilibrium is on the nominal interest rate, that is the federal funds rate. So the Federal Reserve cannot directly change the federal funds rate, but they can directly change money supply, which then indirectly changes the federal funds rate, because that and that and that is the best funds rate. And that is the interest rate that banks charge each other. Any questions before I move on to automatic?
Can you just keep that there?
Yes.
What is MD?
It's, and that's a D.
That makes sense. Okay, that's all makes sense.
I yelled at that today.
Oh, side.
Fine.
What is
I have everyone present, so I just wanted.
I was wondering.
The federal funds rate is the interest rate that banks charge each other for loans. Remember, they're going to be using this one more often than the discount rate because, well, why would you go to your boss to bail you out when you go to your friends? So remember, daddy discount? Federal friends? Yeah. Daddy discount, federal friends. So the one that's called federal is not the one that the Federal Reserve charges. The Federal Reserve charges the discount rate. Banks, each other, charge the federal funds rate. So even though the name is federal funds rate, it is not the one that the Federal Reserve charges. The discount rate is. So it's a little counterintuitive, paradoxical, but that's just the way life is.
The Fed, parentheses, central bank, charges a discount.
That is correct.
I finally got something right.
Let's talk about automatic. Okay. I have spent too much time in class about automatic monetary policy because, well, this unit was big enough. The M1s and the M2s, the bank balance sheets and all that
Oh
good
my
stuff.
god.
And median of exchange, unit of account, store value, and all those good fun things. And combining fiscal monetary policy, that's always fun. But like, oh, it's indeterminate now. Yeah. So I spent maybe half a day on this. So if you're all like, I don't remember this at all, that's okay. It's not, but that makes sense. Okay, so automatic policy does not shift money supply.
Automatic policy does not.
Automatic monetary policy does not shift money supply. It shifts money demand.
Automatic monetary policy does not shift.
So expansionary monetary policy,
Does not shift
Just money.
It doesn't, it's just money demand, it decreases
Yeah.
money demand, while contractionary, no, I'm just kidding.
So it doesn't increase money supply.
Does it increase?
Well, money, it's not caused,
If you're
It does
standing,
not decrease money
caused,
supply.
it's caused by
Oh my
A,
God.
decrease in money supply. It does not decrease money supply of money demand,
I was right.
but it is caused by a decrease of money demand. Right on wall, contractionary, I did, is caused by an increase in money demand.
No, can I please write on the board?
No, I'm just saying, I know.
Can you clearly clearly explain it now? Like now that you got your thoughts together, because you were like trying to figure it out.
I haven't explained it yet at all.
Okay, automatic expansionary monetary
I'm about to explain it.
does not.
I haven't explained it
I
yet.
don't want to explain. I want to know the.
I haven't said anything yet,
But you did.
but it was mainly for me. Now I'm gonna say it for you.
Okay, fine.
I'm gonna. Yay, I wasn't listening. Okay, sorry. We want to expand, right? So we must be in a, okay, so we're gonna start off with in a recession. Are people spending more or less? People spend less. Well, money demand for money is people spend. So people are spending less. Are they reaching for their wallet more or less? So do they have more or less demand for money?
Less.
So I know we're gonna I'm gonna draw it down here just so we can whatever. Here we have same graphic, we have nominal interest rates, quantity of money, money demand, and money supply.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Now that you did that, it was like really nostalgic.
Okay,
You forgot the boobs. Like that's second one.
I know. So, there's a recession. I'm reaching for my wallet less because I'm not buying anything. And so if I reach for my wallet, there's less demand for money. When there's, don't watch me first. When there's less demand for money, money demand, the entire money demand curve shifts to the left. What happens to interest rates? They lower. And that right there is lower interest rates, lower federal funds rate, which will start loaning money again. People will take out more loans and people will buy more things and they go to college and buy a house and car. And that right there is interest rates changing automatically. So in a recession, people spend less demand for money lowers the interest rate. And then low interest rates cause aggregate demand to go up. And that's expansionary, automatic monetary policy.
Oh.
We're just gonna let that one slide. Anyway,
So now we draw that little graph.
yeah, now you can put that up there, and I'm gonna say in a recession.
Now. Wait.
Huh?
We already know. Yeah. Why is it on the? Yeah. Why is it
Should
on
it be
the
on the
second
blue line?
line?
In a recession.
Oh, that's
You
what
shift.
happens.
Yes.
So then.
Okay. Money demand. Okay, okay, I'm gonna say this.
You're
It's
such a
my,
good teacher, but at the same time, you're so.
I'm sorry. Okay. Well, this goes, there's just so many synonyms and there's so many ways to say it. And there's also the vice versa. So everything I say can be also done reverse.
You also
And there's no beginning and end. It's just cause effect, which is another effect and then another effect. Yeah. It's, yeah, a business cycle, is what I'm saying. Okay. The shifters of money demand is the same thing as aggregate demand.
Whoa.
Nope, you don't have to write, just listen. Just absorb the information.
I can't do that.
Just like, have a conversation with me.
Okay.
What do you need to buy things?
Money.
Right. And you don't need money when you're not buying things. So it's the very same things. You don't need money. Right now, you are not actively reaching for your wallet. You are not needing money right now, because the needing of money is shown by like opening up your wallet, swiping a debit card. Like, I need money right now. So if you're not buying anything, you're not doing that. So every time in the past in the class that we have shifted aggregate demand, every single time that we have shifted aggregate demand to left, to the right, whatever, in an alternate universe, money demand is also shifting. Like, in alternate universe where like they're teaching economics differently in different class, they're like learning money demand. And the money demand shifters are changes in Z, I, G, and S. If people are spending money, they need money. If people aren't spending money, they don't. More demand, more aggregate demand, more money demand. Same thing.
Are you saying like, are you trying to say like how this connects to the He's asking, where did this come from, Marty? Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you are so focused on memorizing, if this happens and this happens because you memorized it, you are not going to do well on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But if you understand reasons and you understand why things change, then it wouldn't matter how they throw a question at you. You understand relationships. But if you're like, wait, is this when they go the opposite way or the same way? Or I'm like, that doesn't matter. Don't focus on memorization of rules. Just focus on relationship between variables.
How many hours is this?
70 minutes and then 50 minutes?
15 minutes for FFP.
Yeah.
And what is your success rate?
85% pass. Well, the 15% aren't here.
What do you mean here?
That's a lot.
Aren't here for tutoring.
Oh, no, that's a bold statement.
That's a very.
Yeah.
I don't think we're 85% of the people taking the
I
test.
think.
I'm saying like 50% of people, like I've had kids show up the day of the test and I like totally forgot they're in the class. They didn't even tutoring once. And I hadn't seen them in the whole like at all. I forgot their names.
But half people going to tutoring and like, you know.
Well, there's always
Yeah.
people that, yeah, me, it's me.
There's people
Sarah
who
Loss.
Okay, just to understand, so what happens is that since we're not reaching for money, that means that like the money that we say that we have in our bank is still there.
Yeah.
So that means that businesses can take out their money so that they can invest more, and that's where the investment is like 80.
Yes. I'm not reaching for my money, which means like,
That
It's-
almost makes sense. Can you, yeah.
So basically, the money.
I'm not reaching for my money so businesses can.
Yeah.
Ah, because it's in the
Bank,
bank.
yes.
And that's
So
like
it's
what they use.
self-circulation.
Yeah.
Right, and so, but if I'm reaching for my money and I'm spending it, that means like Google, Amazon, big job-making businesses can't get that money.
So they're
What about
demanding
the-
more money. If that were to happen. Like if we take money out, then demand will go up.
No.
The act of taking money out increases money demand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
And then that'll be aggregated and then
Which part, which one?
no.
In the road, in a recession.
In a recession, money demand shifts to the left. So in a period of inflation, like,
Automatic control.
this is now contractionary. Everyone's spending. Like everyone has a job, we have inflation, people are spending more money because you know what, prices are higher. Because there's inflation.
Right.
And so they need more money, so, oh, that used to cost $10, now it costs $20. Well, I'm sorry, man, there's inflation. So you reach for your pocket, like your wallet, for more money, increasing more demand for money. Of course, that raises interest rates for businesses to take out a loan. Because you're too busy spending money, not giving them any to spend.
And that's automatic contraction.
Yes.
That always is more.
I'm gonna write it right here. So like in inflation, people are more spending.
So would that be crowding in?
No, no, that's fiscal policy.
So that.
And the loan of funds graph, this is the money market graph.
Oh,
Vulnerable.
what kind
The opposite crowding out.
Just a.
Yeah, just look at it.
For some reason, I could never understand that.
In inflation, more spending, therefore more demand for money. Interest rates go up. Investment spending goes down, ag spending goes down. And so, in inflation,
I know what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. It's just when it comes to text, I don't know what you're saying.
okay. Yeah, you do. How many practice tests have you done on your own?
Like, half of one.
When? This semester?
Earlier this semester.
Okay, you need to do one. You need to do one tomorrow or
Today.
Yeah. Like I sent you guys a link for Khan Academy. Khan Academy has hundreds of multiple choice questions. They're very, very good. There's videos explaining it all. And at the very bottom of the screen, like the main page, if you go to the very bottom of the screen, it says like master content something, and it gives you, I think, like 30 questions over all different topics, and then course challenge, yes, and then it tells you like what you need to study on.
So, like, can you agree that the wording of your tests are like
Yeah, sometimes they can be like,
Yeah,
I feel illiterate when I read the word.
that's because you need to like put it in your own words.
You have to be.
No one, if you don't know like their synonyms for things, you're not going to do well, because like during an inflationary period, it's like things are more expensive. And while they decide to cut taxes and raise spending, okay, that's expansionary. There's a deficit. Like you need to be writing and underlining and doing things all over your desk.
It's not enough
Yeah, you can do that. Sarah, 70 questions in 60 minutes.
You have
60 questions, 70 minutes.
I've got it.
All right.
60
questions in 70 minutes.
Okay, no. Yeah, hold on. Miss Taylor, did you post all of the websites you did last semester? Okay.
I invited y'all to first period Google Classroom like several times.
I'm doing that.
All the websites are still there and then all the videos that I've done it like for tutoring, I've posted them.
Oh, then okay, Sherry, finish.
Also watch Mr. Clifford.
Mr. Clifford is amazing, Khan Academy is amazing. Do not just go to one source for your review. That's
You know, I did that for my final and I actually did really well on it.
yeah, but that's like going to one store to like get good deals. How do you know unless you go to lots of places to figure out like Walmart?
I don't know where you're.
Sorry, what? No, your final will be your final, but hopefully you can fix it. Okay, let's do bank balance sheets.
Oh my god. I'm not even during class, I did not.
Okay, what are we doing? I'm gonna find one that none of us have done.
No. I mean, yes.
Because I can't really. Them? Shut up. Victor, where?
We've come to the same now.
That much.
Zach? Or Victor?
I hear
Those are cardinals. I can make this.
I hear doing them like.
Be considerate. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you something to do while I go. That's so annoying. I need to find a bank balance sheet for you guys. I didn't have any.
Can I have a kiss for son?
Later. This seems like a good later.
I think.
Last night when we were on the beach, we had two different graphs, and it was all very complicated, but we were seeing the relationship between.
Okay, we haven't combined fiscal monetary policy yet. We just did one page in fiscal.
Look
Okay,
at it.
yeah, you can look at it. Yeah, those are completely different things. We just did fiscal policy by itself and monetary policy by itself. And those two pages that you're looking at is combining fiscal and monetary policy. Okay, I'm gonna, who thinks they know this most?
That's just what you own.
Not big balance, fiscal and monetary policy. Okay, fine.
I'm confident.
Nothing prints out, but I can post things. Actually, I might, but you asked first, so just keep in mind that whatever I have here, one goes to you if I have anything, and then anything else goes to anybody else. That
I called it.
No, I said it first.
Okay, first.
okay. There's this one works better than this is all of the notes in 23 pages.
How many of those do you have?
I got one more. But I also have these. Okay, what's that?
I did.
Okay.
And I think
These
I'm making
three
it more.
it goes along with Mr. Clifford's videos. Okay, and then it has it's like to do. This is notes and like to read. This is like to apply, and then at the back it has like the key. I want it. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do.
I want that.
I'm going to
Post it. Like if there's a link, post it.
yeah. So I will post both of these. But I think the people only want hard copies, like they want to hold it right on it, whatever. So here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to. Wait, you said that? Yeah, you have one.
Well, no, that's so quiet.
Sit down. Okay. I'm gonna think of a number. 1 and 100. And the first 4 people that get close, the 4 closest people get the package. 1 package. Okay. My number. Okay. I wrote a number, so I came like, what is my favorite? I wrote it behind me. Okay. 1 through 100. 55. 14. Wait, write the numbers down.
Closest to the correct answer.
Yeah.
What's 100? We're all thinking numbers like less than.
Actually, I don't want it to get more.
Oh no. Oh no. Now I kind of want to change my mind.
Hey, Mom, you have a number?
I have it. Can I choose 2 numbers?
Wait, I'm choosing 100.
Ouch.
Wait.
Only those are 28 or 71.
Okay.
If it's
I'm gonna need to get a calculator.
What?
I'll help you. I'll help you figure out like and give a direction.
What do you guys want?
Or close.
I'll have mine.
I just
Just what I
It's
number.
scrap paper.
Do you have a number?
Okay, I'll throw it away.
Me, 79.
I just
I
want
don't have a number.
I just
Okay.
There is a copy.
99 for sure wins. And then those 3. Sorry.
I told you I should have said 75. And you told me
you get
no.
Okay.
I
But anyone, are you gonna do it?
Zach, you ruined this.
28 or 75?
He was not excited.
No, I was.
Oh, no.
I love this.
If I had gotten 75, I would have gotten it.
All right. I will still post it. It's on Google Classroom. You just have to print it out with your own papers.
I got it. I got it. I can do that.
I don't like Mr. Clifford.
Okay.
Oh,
Does anyone else want this?
She's not.
I don't.
I have the notes. I paid for that.
Are you serious?
Okay.
I didn't want
Ew. Because I had to purchase it. To download it.
Oh, yeah,
You still have to purchase the ACDC one. I purchased that one.
Wow.
How much did that cost? How much did it cost?
I think that was $25.
Oh.
But once you download it forever. And then I think that one, if you bought it from ACDC, I think it was like $30.
It's close.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, fiscal monetary policy, I'm gonna find a bank balance sheet as soon as I get you to do this, maybe with your notes or with pairs or with friends or whoever. Expansionary fiscal policy and expansionary monetary policy, contractionary fiscal policy and contractionary monetary policy, expansionary fiscal policy and contractionary monetary policy, contractionary fiscal policy and expansionary monetary policy. Okay, for all of these, I want you to tell me what happens to the following: price level, real GDP, unemployment, and that's the short run. And in the long run, capital stock, long run growth. Of course, to figure out capital stock, you're going to need to know interest rates. So I'm going to get my Chromebook. I'm going to find a good. Actually, I can do it on here. I'm going to freeze this. Okay, y'all, don't be annoying.
For every second left over when you finish your test. Yes, it's possible for really good speed.
Oh.
Sure wish I could cheat like you. You're the same. You know what happens, right?
Ugh.
Like long run interest.
So if that even goes up,
Hey, which graph is this? Wait, what's the what that
Okay, remember, you either know short run or you know long run. You're not going to ever know both. Either something's indeterminate, but you don't know which one it is. Short run, long run. One of those will be indeterminate. No, it wouldn't matter if it's automatic or discretionary. It's just whether it's expansionary or contractionary.
Oh, that's yellow and orange stars. You know, I was thinking about this, that for your final ice cream 8 hours plan. They must have looked at every schedule and they really went off, I can pull it off there, so it's really stressful.
I believe in you.
Double pink.
Yes. What? I stressed you out. I'm sorry, that was just Why Terry? Why Han?
So that makes someone down. And then.
Anyone have a charger? Oh, this.
One, the interest
I just remember when we talked about this, there was contraction. Oh, wait. No. Great. Because this is.
Since I've been here, your room hasn't changed a lot, but there's little small things that change, like that tile that wasn't there. That
Oh,
K,
I
I
think
think
it
it
was
was
Terry.
that.
This is the one
That K, I believe that was there.
I got that
The
picture.
Lauren taxes.
That button was there.
Yeah, it was.
You have to know it. Not that way, but you can have it, show it to them. I would have said the difference. That's what yeah. That works here too. Why is it colorful anymore? You used to have it with colors. You used to like separate by color.
When I worked at the year, she was adjusting wrong for us.
No, I put colors for major grades.
Yeah, so there's not. Oh. Yeah.
Wait, why wouldn't you?
So what is this cycle project?
It's the killer project. Yeah, that project is so much fun. I really like it. I became like best friend.
Have you thought about my final?
Yeah, I said this
No.
was bad.
But I promise you, I'll think about it.
Yeah, you were saying, this is what it's like.
Oh, I have.
If we want to get down to short run,
I have to talk to them. They're really not really important. Really not walking. But I have to take final, like, the weekend after. Like those little cinnamon guys.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's-
It's like to teach
I might not be able to. I get one of them.
They're different, you know, the long run.
I'll be trying to here.
and so I like, that's from.
I can't.
Utilize.
Okay. Can we talk? Oh, no, okay.
Oh, double
And I'm not sure if I
Double pink or pink or red.
Yeah, I don't like orange.
I put like orange.
Or
Yellow. There's nothing right.
I just always Robert's is my favorite style.
Really?
Robert's my favorite candy. I like it.
I love scary.
I love nerds. I love nerds. Nerds are so good. Good. My favorite candy.
I love jerky.
You don't like these? What's your favorite color? Is it the pink one? Yes. Can I have a sticker? Fine. Why don't you deserve that? All the questions you asked.
So it should be the opposite.
Okay. Fine. Okay.
Do you want? Do you want me to give this to the children?
Okay, children. Here we go. We ready?
But I love.
Why did you?
That's what I'm saying, it's the same thing, it's just contraction.
All right. Okay. Sure, they're good. They're just not making graphs that I wrote before.
Yeah, but I didn't draw Oh, right. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. You shouldn't think too hard on when they're both expansionary or both contractionary for short run because they match. If they both expansionary. Well, expansionary means the aggregate demand shifts to the right. And they're both shifting aggregate demand to the right. So everything that happens when aggregate demand shifts to the right will be matching. So price level will go up when aggregate demand shifts to the right. Real GDP goes up, aggregate demand shifts to the right. Unemployment is going to fall, the economy's getting better. But if I know the short run, I don't know the long run. Because expansionary fiscal policy creates a deficit, which raises interest rates, starting out. But expansionary monetary policy lowers interest rates. And I don't know which one's going to have a bigger effect. So when it comes to interest rates, capital stock, economic, long-run economic growth, in the long run, I have no idea. It's indeterminate. Same with, sorry, go.
Repeat that, what's in the term in the long run?
Interest rates, capital stock based off of those interest rates, and long-run economic growth based off of capital.
Anytime that they have, but like they're matched.
Yes,
Long run is indeterminate.
yes.
So when they're contrary, long run.
Short
goes
run
down.
is, yes, short run is determinate. Okay, so once again with contractionary both, I know the short run, but I don't know the long run. So contractionary for sure is going to make aggregate demand go down, it's just left. So price levels are going to fall. Real GDP is going to fall. Unemployment is going to go up. But when it comes to like interest rates and therefore capital stock and long run economic growth, I have no idea.
Is this like, if when they're matching, you know, short run, and when they're not matching?
You know, long run.
Isn't it long run like this
No.
If they're matching?
You know one or the other. If they're matching, you know tomorrow, but you don't know 10 years from now. If you're not matching, I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow, but I do know what's going to happen 10 years. Okay, so expansionary, fiscal, contraction, and monetary, one shifts aggregate to the right, the other one shifts to the left. So anything that aggregate demand would tell you, you don't know because you don't know how far it's shifting in either direction. So price level, don't know. Real GDP, don't know. Unemployment, don't know. But I do know what happens to interest rates and capital stock and long-run growth. The question is what? Okay, you know that interest rates are going to match on both of them. So just pick one and tell me what happens to interest rates, because they're going to match. So you don't have to like, well, tell me what happens to interest on this and this. They're going to be the same answer. So just pick one to tell me what happens to interest rates. Like how does either expansionary fiscal policy or contractionary monetary policy affect interest rates?
For fiscal, which is the, is that the MS?
No.
Okay, monetary.
Monetary, money, MS, and G.
MS.
We're doing contractionary.
Okay, and it decreases. Right?
You tell me.
Yes.
So what happens to interest rates?
So they go down. I mean, they go up.
They go up for both. Okay? Expansionary fiscal policy creates a running out, interest go up. Contraction and monetary policy decreases my slide, goes up. Interest goes up, capital stock goes down because there's long too expensive and longer economic growth goes down.
Why don't they use this type of economics when they're making our social plan, like for the government?
You're gonna vote for someone that says, vote for me, I'll raise your taxes, and that's what, oh well, this is the bad combo. This expansion of fiscal policy wins elections. Vote for me, I'll lower your taxes. And most people don't even understand monetary policy. They barely understand fiscal, and that's the easier one. So people are uneducated, and most words like low taxes is what buys elections.
You don't have to do that, and that rarely happens, that they actually vote, so why don't they actually?
No, but they say.
Yeah, but it's a
You're
lie.
right.
That's
No, no, no.
So why don't the people actually in charge of people in Congress, why don't they actually do this?
Because they don't care about you.
You think you actually represent?
That's cute. That's cute. That's
I'm glad you think that.
right. Well, like, you never want to. Oh. And for back. So, they don't match. Don't know. Don't know. Don't know. But I do know interest rates. This is the best combo. The best combo leads to best long-term economic growth. Contraction of fiscal policy, which is less government spending and more taxes, and low interest rates, brought to you by expansionary monetary policy, creates not only a surplus for the government to have this extra money, but also interest rates that are low, which increases capital stock, which increases long-run growth. But because I know that, but I don't want to pay more in taxes. I know that. But when my taxes went up this year, I was like, that sucks. But no one wants to go to jury duty. Everyone hates it. It's like the summons comes to you in the mail and you hate every moment. But if any of y'all were to go to trial, you'd want to be summoned by you'd want to be in the front of the jury. Everyone wants it, but no one wants to do it. Everyone wants to be healthy. No one likes to work out and eat. You can't have both. You can't have both. It's pay now or pay later.
Because why am I going to focus on later if I can't even feed my family today?
Right.
It's that.
Because low taxes right now means I can go on a vacation. Sure, my child will learn how to read, but I mean, but it's also that won't affect me. It's just the old people. Yeah. Old people go, y'all won't go. And if y'all do, y'all get distracted by shiny things.
Yeah.
My sister.
Well, all of us really. Phones. Oh my gosh, the guy with the makeup. She uses.
Charles.
Yeah. But then it's all here's what's happening. I'm like,
Yeah, here's
our
world climate change.
Sister. I'll bring back to me. Let's hear about it. Okay, I did find this. But nope.
I'm just talking in
Doing something about it is not convenient.
No, I'm just talking about anything. Thinking about everything. Oh, well, I just said English because one person was all these white men.
Both that, people are oh, I'm gonna be this. To get into a power position, you have to be like that.
You have to be like
People that are nice and honest and don't lie and cheat and steal don't get to the powerful positions in government. They lose. They don't have enough to do it.
in line, then they go back to their good
It's
stuff.
not horrible. It's just they yeah.
Recently,
When I went into college, my major was economics, mine and political science. Because I wanted to go into government. And 5 seconds into my government class, he was if you don't have enough, if you don't want to cheat, lie, and steal, if you can't sell yourself,
I can do it.
he's basically, you gotta think like a prostitute.
I can do it.
So I was all and yeah. So, how much do you want to do this?
Yeah,
I'm not saying that. I'm about to
I would have left by now.
I don't know if he was concerned.
What?
Yeah, I want to do
Okay, well here it is. Well, that's why they call economics the dismal science. The more you study it, the more you get trust.
How I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're why don't people learn? It's because people aren't educated.
Military break, and I was like,
History repeats itself. And it's just you know that people have gotten through it, and it's been fine. So it's like the next election it will be really rough. Like, people are saying that it's gonna be the worst election in terms of like nastiness. Just like nasty names and nasty. this
And
that.
also, this past election, the 2016 one, I thought it was so vulgar and disgusting.
No, it's gonna get more.
Yeah, and then that's my point, and I thought it was horrible. Like, I literally would sit there and like I'd stop watching debates and stuff because that was the election that I was like, maybe I'll get into politics, like because my mom isn't interested in politics.
Right.
And I was like, maybe I will. And I saw like one debate, and I was disgusted, like seeing that those people.
Well, it doesn't, it just, you're not gonna hear answers
Yeah.
to questions.
It's just.
So like, I love the question that you asked me, but here's an answer to the question that I've been prepared for. Here's that answer. It has nothing to do
And
with
like
what you
those
asked.
insults, like I remember I watched the one where it was like Marco Rubio was talking about Trump's hands. And it's like, why? Like, is this really something? Like, is this,
Right.
like, this is really.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing this.
Yeah, I don't know how to do
I
this.
haven't done this
I don't
FFQ
know how
yet.
to do this.
I've never seen this FFQ before.
Oh, cool.
So, we'll be doing this together.
Okay, so, we're not gonna have like a little,
No,
remember this rule before we start.
no.
Just, here you go.
Dive right in and you should have been studying on your own at this point. It's 2 days before the test. If you haven't reviewed this, I'm not going to hold your hand.
I know the words.
Yeah, how long did the chat go?
11 years. It's not a kid, that's a bank.
Oh, send us thanks, we'll send it.
Mr. Zenith Bank, too.
Bank balance sheet.
Mr. Bank.
No, you're not.
I haven't done it yet. I just got done with A.
Zay, what did you get for
What did you get for A?
Same time.
No. People are still like doing it and if we say the answer out loud, then we rob their opportunity to win.
Thank you.
You have to figure that out. Okay. You can always find 10% any number. Oh!
40. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. Oh.
This is a really good FRQ. I really like this FRQ. Of all the bank balance sheets, this one I think is the most doable. What? Because we did one today in first period that there was like a trick question. So I've done like 5 bank balance sheet FRQs, and this one is the one that I was like, oh. If you're not feeling that, go home and study. What do you stop on? You can't do E? No.
It's just as described in part D.
Yes, but like, you Yeah. The description of D, like the scenario of D, not the answer to D.
What is open?
Client liabilities. The asset side is 40 million more than the liability side. Okay, this is our last thing we're doing today. I'll be here. This is the last thing I'm giving you. I will put questions on the board if you would like to work at, because I have Khan Academy open.
Can you see who's logged into Khan Academy here?
I don't think so, because I never created a class and imported you from that class. Then I could see. I could like assign stuff and like it'll create it for me. I kind of love Khan Academy. Next year, I'm just gonna go to diving in.
I was walking by him and he goes, "You're gonna have to find a chapter that doesn't work in this school." I was like, "Okay, sir." I was like, "Alright, okay."
Are you at dress code?
I was doing this. Doing like this. Like, not horrible, but he was like, "You're gonna need a chapter. This doesn't work in this school." And I was like, "Okay, Mr. Scott."
I can't concentrate with your belly.
I'm sorry, Mr. Scott. I apologize to him because I felt really bad, but when I walked by, he saw my tummy, he felt the need. I didn't do anything. Maybe it's like.
But no one is watching this month. So, like, my videos, I can see like how many people watch my review videos. It averages around 2, and then averages 2, and it'll say like it'll be like 2-hour long video, and it says like how long people watch.
Oh, really?
And they say around 17 minutes.
Oh. I usually, when I do
But people are always all like, please record it. I'm not gonna be able to make it, and it's all like, I'll record it, but I know how that's gonna do.
Do you delete it off of the rest?
Typically, at the end of the semester, I'll delete review videos. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So on A, it's 20% is the required reserves. Well, required reserves is a fraction of the deposits. So that means, like, here says reserve. But notice how it doesn't say excess or required, it just says reserves. Because that is excess and required reserves is in that 80,000. Or, yeah, 80,000. 80 million. I can't read. 80 million. So, like, the question is, what amount of this is required and what amount of that is excess? Well, 20% of 200 million is required, and the other bit of that number is excess. Okay, so what is 20% of 200 million?
40.
How did you get that?
Sample size is
Yes, you can find out 10 and 20 and 30% of any number by moving a decimal place over to figure out 10, and then you double it for 20, triple it for 30, and all the way up to 100%. So 20% of 200 million is 40 million, which means of this 80 million, 40 million is excess reserves and the other 40 is required. So they can loan out whatever is in excess reserves, which is 40 million, is what they can loan out. On B, based on your answer in A, calculate the maximum possible change in money supply. So that is the excess reserves times the money multiplier formula. Excess reserves is that 40 million. What's the money multiplier formula? 1 over RRR, in this case 1 over 0.2, which is what? 5. So it's 40 times 5.
Wait, can you use it again?
Yes. I can loan out whatever's in my excess reserves, right? Times the money multiplier. Well, the RR is 20%, so it's going to be 1 over RR, whatever, 0.2. So 40 times 5 is 200 million.
Excess reserves only basically loan out.
Yes. You can only loan out what is in excess reserves. On C, identify one reason that everyone's money supply may expand by a smaller amount than the amount that you identified in part B. Right. Anyone want to guess?
Banks do not fully loan out.
They don't loan out all that they had. They could loan out $40 million, but if they loan out less, then they would have a smaller effect. That was easy.
Just saying, the bank doesn't loan out all the money.
The bank is loaning out all their money. Yeah. On D, it says, assume the central bank purchases 10 million of government securities from the public. If the public then deposits 10 million in the bank, how much will the reserve require change by as a new deposit? Well, required reserves is a fraction of deposits. If required reserves, the percentage doesn't change. Does it say?
But it's just when required reserves, that's in like the reserves. Or is it like how much that they're required to have?
Not the ratio.
It doesn't say the required reserves rate.
Okay, that's fine. I'm looking for a number here. Okay, so I would, because here's what I would do if I had this question. I don't know exactly if you're saying about the percentage or about the amount, so I would say both. I would say while the percentage doesn't necessarily change, the amount would change by, well, it's 20% of $10 million. What is 10% of 10 million? 1 million. What's then 20%? 2 million. I would say while the percentage doesn't change, the required reserves gets $2 million more when people deposit 10 million.
So the fact that it says purchases 10 million and deposits 2 million, it's the same 10 million.
It's the same 10 million.
When they say purchases, when they say deposit, I get confused. Who's buying what? Who's depositing?
Right.
So it's
They're worried.
purchasing from the public and it's both.
How would you?
Your eraser, the bond. This is money. I'm going to buy this from you. Here's your money. You take that money, you deposit it in the bank. That's what just happened. The Federal Reserve is buying bonds from you and giving you money. You are then going to deposit that money into a bank. It's still deposits. They're just wondering, like, why are people depositing so much money?
So the public is depositing.
The public is commercial bank.
The public is just
the money
the
that
public.
they were given for selling the bond to.
Yes.
Wait, but then, because if they purchase this bond,
Who's saying? The government? The Fed?
the Fed, if they purchase this bond, then that for $10 million, then those then the central bank puts it into,
Central bank is the Fed.
no. The people they bought it from, the people who received
The
the
public.
$10 million.
Then deposits them into their banks.
Oh, that's what it's saying?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah. The 10 million from the right there.
okay. I was just thinking this is like coming from two different places.
No.
And it was, see, this is one that failed. Okay.
Even then, it doesn't matter because it's just saying how much does the required reserves change, and that's only dependent on deposits.
Yeah.
So
It wouldn't matter if there was another, it doesn't matter where they got the money, it's deposit either way.
By grabbing the deposit,
So by
multiplying it by
20
reserves.
2 million.
To find the required reserves and then subtract it from the total.
Okay. And the last question, which you didn't have to do D to answer. You didn't. The price of bonds is inversely related to interest rates. And the Federal Reserve purchased bonds. They bought bonds. Buying bonds is expansionary monetary policy. Expansionary monetary policy is just money supply to the right, lowering the interest rate, which means bond prices go up because they're inversely related. Okay.
So what was the last
Interest rates and bond prices are inversely related. And in the previous question, the Federal Reserve purchased bonds, which lowers interest rates.
whenever nominal interest rates go down, bond prices go up.
Oh, when bond prices go up. Oh, no, you're right. You said it right.
What are you doing for
In class? After school, we are doing currency. And what else have we like?
We haven't, I don't think we've done, balance behaving.
Yeah, that's other currency. So we'll do currency and trade and all that good stuff. And then we will also, I don't know, like during July. Bye.
If any of you lives in the Tomball area and you see a white Labrador, let me know. No, it's
I
not.
just saw it on the side of the road the other day.
No, it's
Am I still
friends.
there?
Sucks.